Yo, let's go over our PDN, shall we? First, I'm looking to reduce 20/30ths using the greatest common factor. So I will first write my factors of 20, which is 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5. Now I'll move over to 30. And my factors of 30, or the two numbers I can multiply to equal 30, are 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and then 5 times 6. I'm going to work with my 20 to find a factor that is the same as a factor in 30, just because 20 has less factors. So is there a 20 on the 30 side, a factor in 30? No. Next largest one is 10. Is 10. There's also a 10 on the 30 side. 2 times 10 equals 20, and 3 times 10 equals 30. So I can divide both of my fractions, or reduce both of my fractions, by 10 over 10. 20 divided by 10. 10 rolls into 22 times. 30 divided by 10 is 3. And 20/30ths reduces to 2/3. Looking at 24 over 42, or 24/42, I'm going to do the exact same process. First making my factors, for 24. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 4 times 6, and 3 times 8. Those are all my factors. I found those out by knowing that 4 here is an even number, and also 2 plus 4 equals 6, so I could divide that by 3 as well. For 42, my factors are 1 times 42, 2 times 21. I also have, I believe, if I roll my 4s, I can't get there, but if I roll my 8s, I can get there. 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 32. No, I can't get there with my 8s. Maybe with my 6s I can get there. 6, 12, 18, 20, 24, 30, 36, 30, 40. So 6 times 7. I'm going to stop right there because I see already, looking at my 42 side and my 24 side, 6 is the greatest common factor. So I will divide by 6 on both sides. 6 over 6 would give me 4/7. Can use and cheat and use my numbers right here. We're going to do just numbers 3 and 4 very quickly for our addition and subtraction. I'm going to start with my ones place adding. 2 plus 9 is 11 ones. I have to regroup. 110 plus 3 tens is 4 tens. 300s plus 800s, 300s plus 500s is 800s. 1,000 plus 0,000 is 1,000. The sum of 1,302 plus 539 is 1,841. And then when I take the difference of 1,302 minus 938, I first will subtract 2 minus 8. Super awkward. I can't do that, though, because 2 is less than 8. So I need to... really awkward. I needed to borrow from my tens place, but I got no tens, so I'll borrow from my hundreds place. I'll take 100 away, which leaves me with 200s. 100 equals 10 tens. Now I can finally borrow a 10 to make 10 ones. So now I have 9 tens, and I have 12 ones. 12 minus 8 is 4. 9 minus 3 is 6. 2. Also pretty awkward. I'll take this 1,000 away and add that to make 10 hundreds. Now I have 12 hundreds. 12 minus 9 is 3. And I'm left with the difference of 364. We're going to talk some board equals paper right after this. Today we're going to build on our knowledge from last week of comparing fractions with like denominators to now order fractions with like denominators. The only difference between today and last week is instead of working with 2 numbers, we're going to be working with up to 5 numbers to order from least to greatest or greatest to least. Example number 1 says to order the fractions from least to greatest. I see here that every single fraction, 1/9, 4/9, 2/9, 8/9, 6/9, all has that same denominator, 9. When we compare fractions with the same denominator, we have the larger the numerator, the larger the fraction. So I first read my question. I see I'm going from least to greatest. I know that my gator always eats the greater, so I'm going to first make my inequality symbol like this, where the open part is heading towards greater. And I'm going to fill that in first before I even put any numbers in. I'm going to fill that in on every single part of my inequality symbol. Here, here, and here. The greater always eats, or the gator always eats the greater. Now I'm going to use my bar models here to help me understand which fractions are greater. Some of us may remember from earlier and from last week. I filled in 1/9 here. I'm going to fill in 4/9 since my numerator is 4, which means I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4/9. I'm going to fill in 2/9 underneath. 1, 2. I have 8/9 to fill in here. Whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm already starting to get an idea of which fractions are larger than the other based on how much space of the whole each fraction is taking up. The more space a fraction takes up, the larger that fraction is. It is a greater part of the whole. 5 and 6. Now I'm ready to compare my fractions. If you remember, the larger the numerator, the larger the fraction, and I'm going from least to greatest. So I want to put my smallest fraction first. Looking at all these bar models, I see my smallest fraction is 1/9. So I'll put 1/9 in down here. I see my next smallest fraction is 2/9. So right here, if I were to read just this 2-sentence inequality symbol right here, it would say 1/9 is less than 2/9, which is true. We see one orange block here for 1/9 is less than one green block here is less than 2 green blocks here for 2/9. Now, since I have 1/9 already done and 2/9 already done, I only have 3 more fractions to put in. My next smallest fraction, if I look up the amount of space these fractions have taken, is 4 9ths. And then I have 6/9. And then 8/9. All right, the largest fraction here takes up the most of the whole, which would be 8/9. It also falls with our statement about when denominators are the same, the larger the numerator, the larger the fraction. So now I'm going to read this entire ordering to show you how it works from least to greatest. 1/9 is less than 2/9, is less than 4/9, is less than 6/9, is less than 8/9. You can now shoot your shot on your own on your independent practice. You got this.